People have asked me why I would stand for office or run for office, as I said here. Is it for commerce? Is it for selling books? Is it for ego, getting my face and name in the papers? Or is it some sort of a huge joke? Well, if you want a joke, look in the White House. The biggest joke in history resides there. And many other jokes are in the State House. But they are jokes that are unique. They're uniquely tragic in that they're jokes that send people to their death, to be mutilated, in pain and in misery. People deprived of housing, deprived of work, deprived of their health, deprived of education. And that's where I am standing on these issues. Every American deserves a living wage. Every American deserves health care, or as I call it, sickness care. All the children deserve a good education. They deserve a clean, decent environment, air that they can breathe, water they can drink and swim in, food that they can eat. And they should be able to go to schools where it is a joyful place, where art is honored, where music is honored, where literature is honored, where song is honored, and where the teachers are honored and rewarded and revered and given the same laudatory applause that goes to billionaires who hit balls in fields in front of thousands of people in stadiums that have been built, the citizenry being robbed to build them. The Green Party is beholden to no big corporate money. We're not in bed with them. We intend to do away with pollution, and we intend to make an atmosphere that is conducive to a great life. So we intend to run a campaign that will be a clean campaign. We're not against anybody. We stand for principle. And when you stand for principle and for morality, fear takes flight. So don't waste your vote. Vote for the Green Party in November. Well, I think the state should never be in the business of death. There's no such thing as just killing of a human being. And the death penalty is a cold-blooded, revengeful thing. If, as the Chinese say, you take revenge, you dig two graves. One, the person you kill, and one for yourself. Now, crime comes about because of want, need, injustice, or sometimes because of mental disturbance. Our jails are full of people with mental illness, poor people who should be treated for illness and not thrown in jail for crime. 50% of the suicides in prison are of mentally ill people. 30% of the people in jail in solitary are mentally ill people. Now, many people are in jail because they didn't have an education. They didn't have the right and proper circumstances to get an education, and they dropped out. So we are now paying $50,000 or so per person to keep them in jail when we could have done it in advance, kept them in school. So when kids are having economic difficulties, they have to get to work, when they have to take rotten, low-paying jobs at miserable slave wages, we should be subsidizing them so they can have a happy time in the school. That way, we won't have to pay $50,000 a year for God knows how many years later on. And I think also the wrong people are going to jail. The ones who are breaking the law are many times our so-called elected representatives. Capitalism in itself is sort of a subtle crime because it will take profit at any cost from anybody. As Marx said, the capitalist is a sort of a person who will sell you the last length of rope with which to hang himself for the profit that's in it. But there's no such thing as white-collar crime. Crime is crime. Just because somebody knocks somebody down on the street and snatches their bag doesn't mean that that is a worse crime than the people in Enron, Kennyboy, Lay and Skilling, the ones they commit. They're the ones that have caused 20,000 or so people who lost all their belongings, their houses, their chance to give their children education. And I think that those people, if ever I had a second thought about capital punishment, it would be for the capitalist. It would be appropriate. Capital punishment for the capitalist. One of the most vicious anti-labor laws of all time is the Taylor Law. And the first thing I would do is get that repealed. And because the wrong people, as I say, are going to jail, I would make sure that all of those people in education, the further away they get from the classroom, the less money they should get. The teacher should be the highest paid person in the educational system. If the teachers don't get what they need, and teachers are miserably treated, they have nowhere near the respect that silly people who play baseball and football get. So that's in my opinion, that is disgraceful. So librarians and teachers should be the most honored people in our society, and we should double their salaries to begin with.